YouTube. Oh, oh no. Are we not going to have any attendees, Kartik?
We
Looks
also
like
need to start
I'll answer
recording.
to you guys.
I know. Perfect. We are on YouTube. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours. We are so excited you're here. Whoop, resume recording. Thanks, Radhika. Gotta make sure I get all my buttons pushed. Hey, Kartik, how are you doing?
Good, good. Can't complain at all.
Good. I'm glad you're
Been a Monday
here.
day.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
I'm doing good. Oh, perfect. People are starting to join. Awesome. Okay. Well, welcome to Office Hours, everyone. We're so glad you're here. As you know, every 4th of the month, we open up our office or our virtual office and our virtual space to let you just pop in and ask us questions about anything. There is a couple housekeeping items. You'll be getting all of your most interesting fun facts from Kartik Bhat, our director of sales, and I'm Crystal Wiese, the director of marketing here at QuestionPro. Let us know where you're from in the chat window. I'm currently based in Austin, Texas. And Kartik, where are you?
I'm currently in India, a city called Nasik.
Nasik? That's cool.
Yep.
Hopefully you didn't get hit by that cyclone last week.
No, I'm really far away from it. We're expecting one more, but that too is not going to come anywhere close to me.
Okay, well, that's good. I definitely learned a fun fact, and by fun, I mean it was just a fact, that a hurricane and a cyclone are the exact same thing. And I was like, oh, hurricane. Like, in that, I thought I was like, oh, just a big thunderstorm. No. And then I was got real nervous for you guys. If you have a question, you can put that in the Q&A window, and that's what we'll be answering them along with whatever questions you submitted ahead of time. So let us know about that. And then if you are joining us for office hours, this happens on the last Monday of every month, and except for next month, next week, because it's a holiday, so we did a little week early. And then we also have weekly live events, so you can join us for a plethora of experiences, from Live with Dan on Fridays to Clubhouse on Wednesdays to CX Forums on Wednesdays. And Work at Life has just pivoted to a podcast that will be launching on the 25th, tomorrow. Season 2 of Work at Life is all going to be about the female recession and how most women have left the workforce and what that looks like for their careers going forward, and just companies in general now that we have less women in the workforce, but the fact that more companies are saying things like empathy and humility and caring is more of a quality that they want in their leaders. So what does that look like when you remove a large portion of women from that? So that's going to be Work at Life season 2. And then if you need a Clubhouse invite, you can always hit us up. We host our own club called MRX, market research. And so you can spin up your own rooms, or you can join our rooms as we chat throughout the week. Okay. Also, QuestionPro is a multi-purpose platform, not just sending surveys, but also, doing customer experience along with communities, or helping you find a panel or an audience. And we have all of those things if you need them. Well, Kartik, you want to get started?
Yep. We can kick this off.
Yeah. I always love just like being able to see if we can stump you. So let's see what's happening. We're going to start out with, let me stop sharing my screen in case you
Yep.
need to. Okay, we're going to start with these first two at the top, just because they seem easier. So let's find out. What do I choose to allow for multiple answers? I guess if you need multiple answers for a question.
Yep. So
Okay.
let's do this. So
Let's do it.
yep. So basically, when you go to add a question, right, based on the kind of data you want to collect, you basically need to choose the correct question type. So now if a question could have more than one possible answer, so for example, let's say which of the following cars do you own, right? You could own two, three, four cars, or which of the following cities or which of the following countries have you traveled in? So those could all potentially have more than one answer. So for that, you basically go to add question and you need to use the select many, right? So
Okay.
this is one type of question, but then depending on the nature of the question, there are some others also, like there's a select many image chooser,
Oh,
there's a multiple select matrix. So there are different questions you could potentially use which can have more than one answer to the question. But yeah, there are three, four different options you could choose.
and what's the value of doing just select many multiple choice versus select many basic in the matrix? I'm assuming maybe you have an
Yep.
opinion on
Yeah.
that.
So so think of matrix as a really simplified way of answering the question, really. So a matrix is nothing. If you see this matrix here, right, it's as good as three simple multi-select questions, right? So if I were to split this up, in a traditional form, you would have like how would you rate us on website, and you would have those five options below. Then the next question would be how would you rate us on customer service with the five options, and how would you rate us on overall, right? But what a
Okay.
matrix enables you to do is really make that compact, and it then takes lesser time to get more data points. So that's essentially all it is, right? So it basically helps you consolidate three, four, five data points, but it's very similar to a single select from a data perspective.
Gotcha. Cool. Good to know. And what is the best way after you've sent out your survey with your multiple answer options? What's the best
Hmm.
way to print the analytics? I guess if someday you gotta
Yep.
take it
So
to your
it
boss.
so there are different ways. Like sometimes if it's maybe like if it's employee feedback or something like that, and you want to print an individual response, right, and file it or whatever that is. So in that case, you just go. Let me go into a survey with some data. So
You
this
have
one has
so many
some.
surveys.
I have like 3,800 surveys and counting. So yeah.
I have like
Yep.
two.
Yep. So all you do is go to the responses. You'll see all the responses here. So you could click on any response, or you could obviously look it up by an email address or something like that. And once you do that, you have the option to print it right here. So that's if you want to print an individual kind of response. If you want to
Okay.
print some aggregated data or some infograph or something like that, so you could go into dashboard. You can create your own dashboard here, give it a name, whatever you want to call it, put in a logo, title, choose the questions you want, do all of that. And once that's done, then you have the option to simply save it, and then you can print this as well. So multiple ways you can print. So here you will have the option to download, and here you got PDF, so you can just print it from here. Or you
And
also have
then,
some other options if you wanted to export into maybe a PPT or something like that.
right. So you need to download it and then print it.
Correct. So print is a kind of an option within download because you're potentially downloading a printed version of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Technically, maybe it's not a download, but we put it under download.
It will get you to the end result. Perfect. I love that. Cool. Okay. Well, now we're going to get into some questions about anonymity and response IDs, which I know we have buttons for that. I was like, I've seen you turn them on before. So here we go. How can I use the system to assign anonymous respondents ID and to monitor for non-response and send reminders while de-identifying completed response sets?
Right. So, from what I understand from that is you don't want to personally kind of identify any of your respondents, right? So, when you
Right.
look at it at an individual level, like their email address, IP address, or anything that can personally identify them, should be encrypted or hidden from you. At the
Okay.
same time, at the same time, if you want to send reminders, you still should be able to do that. So you're still not identifying anyone, but anyone who's not completed, you still want to send a reminder to them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this can very easily be done. So whenever you're creating the survey, once you're done, before distributing the survey, you need to go into settings right here. And once you go here, you go into security. And sorry, it's under settings. And there should be an option called RAA, or respondent anonymity assurance.
Yep.
So you just enable this. And once this is enabled, this can never be disabled because all that information is going to be completely encrypted after this point of time. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just going to
So
go ahead and
once you
enable this.
enable it, you can't unenable it for this survey.
Correct.
Okay.
So once this is done, so all the information is still captured by us, so we can still track who's completed and who's not, and still send reminders. But there's no way absolutely of reading this, right? Only a system can decrypt it, and system will just use that to send reminders. That's about it. So
Okay.
reminders will still work, but you can't identify who's answered what.
I gotcha. And then is it possible to export the response data with only the anonymous IDs and not the email address?
Yep. So once RA is enabled, right? So what's going
Okay.
to happen is when you go into analytics and if you go into responses, so if there is any respondent email or an IP address, something like that, you get a tag here which is called RAA blocked, right? So you just get that
Okay.
text. So after that point, even if you export it, so things like email address or phone number or
Mm-hmm.
IP address or geolocation, any of these things will just be called RAA blocked for everyone. As simple as
And
that.
whether you look at it in here or when
Well,
you
absolutely anywhere. You could export
export the
from here,
data.
you could take it through API, FTP, look at it on the individual level. Whatever you do, there's no way to read it. It's always going to be RA blocked.
Awesome. So, and so kind of building on that, can you can spotlight reports be generated at the end of a questionnaire even when using RRA?
Ab- ab-
RAA?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Because so what Spotlight essentially does, right, is it's basically benchmarking your individual response to the aggregate, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that is only shown to you. So my spotlight is only shown to me. It's not shared with anyone else, right? So
Okay.
the spotlight will show me what I have answered and is going to show me a comparison of what others have answered on an aggregate level. So this way, basically, it's not breaking any privacy norm. It's just basically
Right.
showing your personal response as compared to an average, which is like could be thousands of people, right? So there's no way to
Right.
identify anyone with this. So there's absolutely no problem using that function along with RAA.
Nice. Okay, so RRA, just R, sorry, I just RAA, you can still send response reminders to your people without knowing who they are. You can export data using anonymous IDs, and you can create aggregate spotlight reports with RAA.
RAA, correct. That's absolutely right.
Awesome.
Yep,
It sounds like you can still do a lot of your normal things with response anonymity activated.
correct. It's going to look something like this, right? You got your choice, and what's the average of the survey?
Cool. That looks great. uh okay, and then here's a good one. This is actually one I don't know. I obviously didn't know any of the RAA stuff. And after launching my questionnaire using a global email address after launching it, how can I add/edit that active address booked while the survey is live in order to send additional invites?
Right. So what you need to do is once you go to distribute, you'll see all the lists that you have. So if I come to lists, I got all my active lists here, right? And let's say I want to add to this one, right? So I can
Okay.
just click into this.
Do you send surveys to your family, Kartik? Is that why it's
I send a lot of service. I have family, I have friends, I have extended family, extended friends, I have all those things.
it's like where would you like to go on vacation? Please fill out those survey.
Yep. It's a funny thing, right? When I was naming my daughter like a year and a half back, I
Yeah.
ran like I ran a survey and got close to 200 responses to narrow down on a name.
Ooh. You're not only are you a QuestionPro employee, you're a QuestionPro super user.
Yeah, and the fun part is I was even a bit of a nerd with it. I kind of weighted it so that, my immediate family had a higher weightage, and then my friends and some of the extended family had a lower weightage, right? So in the
Ooh.
end, that kicked in as well. So it was pretty fun. Perfect, perfect. So once you click on the list, you can just come right here, and you can then just import more contacts into the same list, right? So now I already have 5, so I can import maybe 5 more if I wanted to, as simple as that. And if I wanted to update any of these, then I just use the same email addresses, and just change any information, maybe first name or their department or something that I want to change, and I can just update it again, and the system will recognize and update that as well. So you can very easily kind of keep adding to your contact list that you have right here.
And can you do this when after RAA has been activated, or do you have to do it before? Like, can you do that
You
with
know,
RRA
you
activated?
you can do that, right? Because RAA essentially is just protecting any data that they've entered. But things like the contact list you already own, you already have that, right?
Right.
So but you don't have any information about them. You just have the email address, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't have, what they've said to anything, right? So RAA won't really kick in here. You can still see all the email addresses and information associated to them and update it if needed.
Right.
RAA will kick
Gotcha.
in on the data collection phase.
I gotcha. Okay, Christella, I think I got through. I don't know if we did have the first one from Christella Kartik with the other option, multiple select. Okay. In my
Do you want me to
question,
just read it? Yeah.
yeah, I was like, it's very long,
That's
and I was trying to, I was like, you'll probably know more about what's happening.
okay.
I was
So I'm
like,
on the sheet with
Christella, we're
which
trying to
number
get
question?
through.
Which number question is it? Is it the first one?
Yeah, this one.
Okay. So I have a question. Got it. Got it. So I have a question regarding the use of respondents reply to other in multiple select. In my questionnaire, respondents are asked 10 options with option other own choice. Each selected option is used in 3 questions. One select one and then 2 text box. How can I use respondents text to show original select many questions in later questions? Okay, perfect. So I think this is piping really. So what you want to do is based on whatever is selected, you have a set of follow-up questions, right? And then you obviously want to pipe some of that data as well, right? So let's go through a real example. This is a fun one.
Let's go
So
through a real example, Kartik. You're I love this is how I passed our question pro. Certification was literally this office hours. This is I was like, I gotta get through the next level. So you gotta teach me more things.
okay, so let's say the first one is which of the following brands of cars do you own?
Wait,
Right.
Kartik, I your screen is stuck on
Oh,
list.
sorry. Yeah, here you go.
There we go.
Okay. So let's say which of the following cars do you own, right? And let's put a few options here. So let's say BMW, Mercedes, Ford,
Jeep.
Volkswagen,
Oh, okay.
Jeep, and maybe any other, right? And
Right.
maybe we got other, and maybe I don't own a car. Okay. And now what should happen is based on whatever they've selected here, I have some follow-up questions, right? So what we need to do firstly is add a block and call this follow-up questions for brands. And now let's say there are 2 questions you want to ask for each of the brand, which is which car is
Oh,
it, and let's say when did you purchase it, right? So let's add it, and let's say single row text, and here we'll say okay, when did you purchase your, and here the brand of the car should come up, so we'll just call it piping underscore text. And maybe there's another one also which is which model of, and again let's call it piping underscore text one do you own. So now what should happen is
Oh,
if I select BMW and Mercedes, it should really ask me twice. One is when did you purchase, let's say, your BMW and which model of BMW do you own? And then after that,
okay.
again, it should ask me when did you purchase your Mercedes and which model of Mercedes do you own, right? So what we need to
Oh.
do for that now is just go here and set up looping.
So you only had to
And
type the question once, but it'll
correct,
take you through the same, it'll take you through the loop twice, like a
correct.
roller coaster.
Not it will take a number of brands. Right? If you select four brands, it's going to take you through the loop four times, essentially.
Right. I
Yep. So it's
gotcha.
all. So we'll do looping based on question,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be based on, let's say, this question, and that's it. So now for BMW, what's the piping text that I want? So I'm going to say BMW. For Mercedes, it's going to be Mercedes, and so on.
Cool.
Right. So now I'm just going to put in this option here. And now for other, since other is something that they can type in and not something that's essentially static. Like for if they select
Oh,
BMW, I know that piping text should be BMW. But if they select other, right, what should the piping text be? So here, what we're going to do is just type in dollar and in curly brackets custom one. So this essentially means a variable. So whatever I type is going to be updated as the piping text instead of any particular static value.
so in the question, it'll say where it'll generate whatever the respondent put in there in the
Correct.
question. Okay.
Correct. So if there was a brand outside of this that I wanted to select, right?
Mhm.
So maybe Lamborghini. So if I type Lamborghini, it's going to ask Lamborghini right there, right? So
Right.
that's why we put a custom variable, which essentially means it's custom to every respondent and not something that can be generalized.
Cool. So if somebody was like, I have a Dodge, the question would, or I have a Dodge, the question would pop
Yeah.
up Dodge.
When
Yeah.
you do purchase your Dodge and which model of Dodge do you own, as an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fun. Uh awesome. And I think that is whew, we got through a lot. Not only multiple choice, but RAA. And then we got a couple new ones have popped in.
Mhm.
I know an easy answer, one of these is can reports be automated to send to a set of people like on a specific day, week, or month? So
Absolutely. Yes.
we can jump
Yep.
into
So
reporting.
absolutely. So we call that scheduled reports. So we just go into analytics and just go into manage data. So here you got the scheduler. So I'm just going to click on the scheduler, and right here I'll just do new scheduler, and let's call this one maybe monthly update. And now which type of report should go? So maybe it's an SPSS or PowerPoint or just the raw data, or maybe infographic reports. I could do any of these. So maybe I choose a PowerPoint.
Yep.
What's the frequency? So I could do daily, weekly, or monthly, right? So
Nice.
let's say I do weekly, and every Monday I want the report to go out. What time should it go out? So maybe I want it to go at about 8 in the morning.
Perfect.
When is the project going to end? So maybe December 31st is the end date. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And here I have data window. So do I want the entire data set to go out every time, or do I just want an updated report for that week, right? So I could do it both. So I could do week. So that means it will just send the data collected in that week. Or if I do entire data set, it's just going to send the entire data set every time, right? That's collected to that point of time.
Oh,
So
so
I
you
could,
could do information from the week or from the entire time. So if you were
correct.
getting, I gotcha. I didn't know you could do that.
Perfect. And then whomever it needs to go to, right? So email, and here basically I can just add as many users that I want, and I can just say, okay, just send it to this user or send it to any of these users that I have here. And then whatever subject and the body and create, right? So on a weekly frequency, every Monday at 8 a.m., it's going to send this report across.
But
Perfect.
can you have multiple data in the weekly and monthly, like weekly, if you wanted one email with all of the like monthly report and just like you'd have to do a separate report for the weekly report? This only
Yes,
gives you
you'll
one
you'll
data
need to do
point.
two schedulers. Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to do two schedulers in that case. One
Okay.
is maybe like a monthly update, and you could call it monthly update all data, and then you can create another scheduler which would be monthly update for filtered data, right? So we could essentially have two reports that go out.
Right. But this one, when you're in this particular window, this creates one scheduler option.
Correct.
But you could send multiple emails on one, like multiple reports on one day. You could do like
Correct.
this is a schedulered event, and then you'd have to create another scheduler event for the
Correct.
same time. Okay.
Correct. So you could do any number of schedulers that go out. So every Monday you could potentially have 50 reports, 60 reports that go out.
Gotcha. Okay. And then if let's say you're running a team, and we get this question a lot about just different access levels to information.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of like set that up in the admin? If let's say, Kartik, you and I are doing a survey together, but you only want me to see certain things. How do we do that?
Yep, super critical. I mean, yeah, when you're, especially if you're working with someone outside your team who needs very limited access. For example, if I'm working with Crystal, I'll probably give her access only to the reporting because that's all she cares
Oh,
about.
I get.
So all you do is you go into organization, and once you're here, you would set up different roles. So I'll show you the roles that I have set up.
Cool.
Perfect. So here, these are all my users, and then I go into roles, and here you can basically create any number of roles that you need. So right now, I think
Mhm.
I have a junior manager, and some roles. So here I have user, super admin, integrations, access, basic functions, analyst, and junior rep, right? And each of them have different access control or access levels, right? And if I wanted to create a new one, so let's say I want to create one for Crystal, which is marketing. So I'm going to do add role, and I'm going to call this marketing. So any of the team members who join from marketing should get this role. So I'm going to do, and obviously they shouldn't be able to add users, able to document surveys, they should not be able to distribute surveys, they get all the analytics. In integrations, maybe I just want to give API because that could be used to integrate with my analytics or something like that. And let's go ahead and add this, right? And once this is done, then every time you're adding the user, every added user, you can go and assign what their role, right? So I create this role. And now if I wanted to add Crystal, so I just go into users, add user, and just put in her email address and select the role that she'd be getting. So marketing team, maybe she's from the US team, and I put in the email address here. As simple as that.
Perfect. But then what does my interface look like then when I would come in? Do you have maybe a demo on that?
So if someone only had reporting access, is that the question?
Yes.
Yep. So basically, let's quickly go into it. So I'm going to really quickly add Crystal right here. Hope I got the spelling right, but
You
doesn't
did.
matter.
I was about to be like, no.
So let's do marketing.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's change that. And team, I'm going to do US.
Looks good.
And user. So now the user is added. So now I have to share a project with Crystal, right? For which she will get reporting. So let's go and share something with Crystal real quick. So let's say my Amway templates. I want to share this one. So I'm going to go into share and quickly look for
There I am. Oh, so then you don't even have to, it just generates it. That's great.
Perfect. So now this permission has been given. So now I can quickly log in as Crystal from right here and see how that might look, right? So let's do that real quick. So I got login as user here. So I have this option since I'm the super admin. So anyone who owns the account can really do this. So I log in as Crystal. Oh no, I'm in admin, so I can't do that. A second. Let me log in from production.
I always think that woman looks like Gal Gadot on our website. Like Wonder Woman. Whew. Surveys. Oh, also we have a community platform if anyone needs it. You know, we got to make sure Dan will get sad if he doesn't, account. If I don't plug his products. I also saw one of our directors, Tim, pop in. So I know he has a couple questions he submitted that we'll get to before the end of this.
And Google and security.
I know.
Let me log in real quick.
Hey, but this is what this is for, right? Is to make sure we have, you know, really being able to show people what the different levels are and what it takes is really important.
Absolutely. So should be logged in now. Perfect. So here I am. So I'm going to go into organization.
Oh, now there we go. Hey, that's us.
Okay, so now let's log in as Crystal real quick.
Great.
Perfect. So here you see, this is what is shared with her, and let's go in real quick, and let's say I go into this one. So here I got access denied, so I can't do that function. What I can do though is go into only the analytics for that particular survey. So I go into analytics.
Okay.
And so anything else that you try to do, you're going to get access denied. But you can come into analytics, and here you could view all the reports, export the data, and stuff like that.
I gotcha. Cool. That's great. So depending on different levels, you can have access to different people, and you as the super admin can control the different access to users for people to view surveys, etc.
Right.
And so how does that protect, if people wanted to protect the data from individuals' data is not being compromised, would RAA be the anonymity option if you didn't want me to know who the people were filling out the survey or the respondents' information? How do we protect that?
Yep. So RAA will still kick in. So what I would, you still need to enable RAA. So their kind of individual level reporting will not be accessible to anyone.
Right.
So you could still easily do that. But if you wanted to, like, you might say that, you know what, I'm doing this for a client and I should have access to individual level data. But when I share it with the client, they would only have aggregated data access available. So in that case, what you can do is you can dashboard. So like you've seen earlier, you can basically create a dashboard for any of the survey that you have. Say, go to this one, go into analytics.
Hold on, your internet was cutting out just a hot second, so I'm going to recap.
And once you create the dashboard,
You went to dashboard and then analytics.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to analytics and then dashboard. And here I could say, okay, maybe dashboard for Crystal. I can create it. And here I can select the question that I want to share with her. And obviously, there's no individual level report here. It's all aggregated. Put in my logo, some summary that I want. And once that's done, I can go into share. And I can simply share this with her. And I can also add a password, right? So I can put in a
Okay.
password and send it, right? So this way, she only has access to the aggregated level report. And this is a real-time dashboard, right? So every time she clicks on it, she's going to get the latest report.
And this way, I wouldn't even need my own user login either.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's almost two different ways to approach it, depending on the kind of information that you want the people you're sharing it with to have. Aggregated data where they don't know any of the respondents' individual details is best done using a dashboard. Or if you just want us to have, like, want your team to have certain levels of access, you create a user with access variables for them.
Absolutely correct. Yep.
I was like, did I summarize that correctly? Man, I feel like this is like class some days. I should be taking notes. Okay, well, let's jump next. That was let's answer why Tim's still in here. I see you. This is one of our own teammates trying to stump you. Can you block a latitude or longitude or terminate based on the system not picking up a region variable? Whew.
Yes. So you could say, like, many times what I'm pretty sure what Tim must be facing is like when you have your own panel, right? So maybe you have a panel with 100,000 panelists, and obviously it's all online. People can just go sign up, and when you're signing up, you could pretty much say what you want, right? I could be in India and I could say I'm in the States, or someone in the States could say they're in Europe, so that they can kind of answer more surveys and get more points and redeem more rewards. So
Right.
we can add another layer of security, which would say that, you know what, not only like we'll obviously send it to only people who said they're from the States, but we also want to be sure that the IP identifies them from someone in the States. Or if you're doing a particular city or a state, you could also do maybe California or Texas or something like that, right? So for any survey, all you could do is, let's go into, let's say, this survey. So on your first question itself, you can go into logic. And here you have a list of logic options. So we're going to call use compound branching. And here we'll give it a name. So we're going to say region qualification. And
Okay.
here this is going to be based on, so there are different options here. So question is something that's answered in the survey. System variables are things that come through the contact list typically. And geolocation here is something that we detect through IP, right? So I can go into geolocation, and here I have city, state, or country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to choose, if I want it for entire US, I'm going to go to country and just put in US here, right? And if I wanted to put multiple countries, so maybe it's a survey that's done in US and maybe France. So I'm going to do US, comma, France. So only these two countries IPs will be accepted, right? So obviously there's a large list of all the possible countries, all the possible cities in different countries, and all the possible states in different countries as well. We do have a help file for that. But yeah, you can do it on a country level or multiple countries. You could do it on a city level, and you can do it on a state or region level as well.
Okay, great. But follow up. If no region or state is detected, it just did it anyways. It still let them go in.
Yeah, so once you do US or France, and if you select like US and France is allowed, and if no country is detected, so it will terminate them.
Oh, okay.
Because what we're going to do here, if this is selected, then go to the next question.
Yeah.
In all other combinations, right, we are going to terminate it. So if no country is detected, it should terminate. If at all you have a survey where it's not, then probably we need to fix that. But this is the behavior that the survey should do.
I was like, I'm looking at the example Tim sent, and it looks exactly what you did. And he said it didn't work. But so maybe you and
Yep. So
have
Tim, I'm going to
a meeting
check
of
that
them.
with you right after this call. Yep.
I was like,
I'm hoping it's a setup error. If not, maybe it's a minor glitch. But
oh my
get that
gosh,
fixed.
Kartik, you always blame it on user error. No I'm kidding. It usually is. That's funny. Tim tried to throw that in there just to like Tim definitely user error winky face. I love that, Tim. Thanks for
I've been here for 9 years, right? And about nine out of 10 times it's always been error. So I'm hoping that's what it is. But
I love that. Well, we have we're just about at time, and so I want to go over just two things, just like a couple easy questions that kind of also talk about our new updates from April and May. So we updated our star rating question, and we updated our hotspot question. And so, can you show me how to customize the colors of selected areas on our new hotspot 3.0?
sure.
Okay.
So
I was
let's
like,
go
can
right
you do
into
that?
it. So I'm going to need an access. And also, I see in the Q&A, there are some questions that I think in essence of time, we may not be able to cover. But I'll personally follow up through email, especially I have some questions from Afan. So I'll be following through on email on those ones as well.
Perfect. And we can always
So
reach
go.
out to our chat window too. Their help desk is always there to get everyone going where they need to. But I do want to make sure we always try to put a little bit of way to cover a few new features and new updates at the end of this hour. I think it helps, just make sure everybody knows where the buttons are. What? That's like half the battle of learning the software, Kartik.
Awesome. Yep.
So different.
And I think we add more features, we'll typically learn. So we always one step ahead than that, I guess.
Yes.
So let's go.
I love marketing hotspot questions
heat
because
map,
they're so colorful. Or heat map and hotspot questions because they're so colorful.
Yep. Absolutely. So basically what a heat map is, right? So you could have an image and you could say, okay, when you see the image, what the first 1 or 2 or 3 things that interest you, just click on those areas, right? So I could just upload any image. So let's say I want to do let them load up real quick. So let's say this is the iPhone. I'm going to do this.
Were you surveying your poker club with all those poker? Like, I see you. So many surveys.
I can't talk about my poker club right now, but awesome. So once you come here, so the users an issue that users face, right? So if you're earlier, like you could just use black as the selection option, or I think it was just red. But let's say image itself was red or black, so it's not going to create a good enough contrast. So that's an issue that we faced. So you can just go into settings, and right here you'll see firstly how many clicks should they be making, right? So maybe I want 3 clicks, and you could do both just a click, or they can also drag and select an area. So I'm going to do click. And here you have the selection color. So if you have the exact color code, you can just paste that in here. Or if you want to select it from a palette, you can do it here as well. So with this, I think red would be a good contrast. So I'm going to do a red. and that's it, right? So now the color of my click here is going to be red instead of the standard black.
Okay,
So
so
let's
on
go
our,
ahead and do
before
this.
we rolled out the update, the color of the click was black, but now you can create
Correct. This
color
border would have been
options.
black.
Cool.
Yep.
It's fun. Great to know. And this is available
Right.
on our research edition license, correct?
Correct. Yes.
I was like, I think that's right.
Yep. That's right.
Awesome. And then one more. Ooh, star rating questions. Who doesn't love a star rating? Can you change the colors and the sizes of your stars? Kartik, I would give you 5 stars
So
for this webinar.
I hopefully you make them big, but so you select the color you want first. So maybe I like blue. I'm gonna do blue. The star size. So select that, right? If much I can do that as well. But now you can easily kind of customize towards the color of the stars as well as the size that you want of the stars.
Nice. So if you were trying, you could actually brand the stars the color of your company to kind of create some,
And another cool one, yeah, that's right. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Kartik. I really enjoy your time.
And I think there's one more interesting one also.
Oh, was there? Do it. One of our new updates.
Yeah, I said there's another interesting one. I think there's a bit of lag on net, so sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to repeat.
So this is not that new. I think. So the smiley face rating. So earlier we just had kind of these 5 options that you could use, but now there's a list of options right here for of scales you want. So I could change that right here, and also like this, we have a library here, so I could just do change smileys, and I have all these options here, right?
Oh my gosh, you guys
So I could use
love
any
fun
of these.
smileys.
Yep.
That's so fun. Oh,
And you can also go into custom and add your own stuff as well. So we pretty much made this very powerful to use.
Like upload your own smiley.
Correct.
Oh, can I upload faces? Can I upload pictures of my face in different smiles?
Absolutely, but I'm not sure you'll get all the emotions. You'll just get like satisfied and above. So you'll have to think about the negative ones.
I mean, I could make a very unsatisfied face, probably. But I don't know if it would be. I don't think anyone would take it seriously. Well, Kartik, I really appreciate your time. We're gonna call it a day today, but I'm gonna just pop up our last slide just to remind everyone. Man, we got through a bunch of questions today. Good job. That we have these 5 weekly events that you can always come join us at. And Kartik and I lied. Not Kartik and I, Adrian and I will be back on June 28th to answer more of your questions and to hang out in the QuestionPro office with you. So thank you so much for joining us, you guys. Thank you, Kartik, again.
Thanks, Crystal. And also, like I said, there are some questions we couldn't answer in essence of time. So we will be following through on email. I'll personally be doing that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kartik. You're a champ, and I give this 5 stars.
Awesome.
I'll see you later.